We are back. Am I live? We have some tech issues, so the audio might not be quality. The internet in Washington apparently doesn't work today.
Dude, it's absurd that we live in a world where it solves all the problems.
You cut in and out there, so maybe it's. I don't know if that's me. Am I cutting out?
No, you're good.
Okay, so I'm going to go with it's your internet that's cutting out.
I don't know. I think there must be a Faraday cage around my whole house.
Yeah, because if it's my internet, there's nothing I can do because I'm in an office building. So, but I'm literally the only person here right now. So I don't think that the internet here is good. And I tested my speed. So I'm going to blame you. So we'll just leave it at that. If it gets real bad, fair. We'll cut this and do it on Friday because Wednesday we have Mike with us to go over some injury and rehab stuff. So today on MI Live, for anybody who's listening, welcome to MI Live. Today we are going to be discussing the basics of cutting, bulking, and simple program design. So I think we'll just kind of jump into it since we're getting a little bit of a late start on our live broadcast. And we will start with the basics of cutting and bulking. So first, cutting. Another way to say dieting, and bulking, another way to say gaining weight. I think that cutting and bulking are better terms because they both kind of bring in this controlled method to the madness, not crash dieting, not just saying YOLO and eating cheeseburgers every day. They're controlled weight or weight loss or weight gain.
Correct.
Yeah.
I want to know where those terms came from.
Because you're cutting away the fat.
I know, but like when and who invented those terms?
Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about that with other things. I've thought about that with clean eating. Where did it come from? And I've gotten that one. I think came from bodybuilders.
Yeah, it would be interesting to just like track the history of those terms. But
you're interesting.
That's true. So, Jay.
Yes.
Let's start with the most important piece of the discussion is, should you cut or should you bulk?
That is the age-old question that I think comes up every single time we have one of these.
The $1 billion question.
Yeah, it's the $1 billion question that comes up over and over and over, and there really is. It depends is the answer, but in a blanket statement for most people, if you have to ask, you need to be dieting or cutting first.
Most likely.
If you can't see your abs and your goal is abs, you need to diet down to get abs. It's much easier to start bulking from a very low body fat point than it is to bulk from a higher body fat point.
You know what's interesting is there is even some hard scientific evidence to suggest that a leaner phenotype has greater anabolic potential than a less lean phenotype.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
Yeah.
I remember something.
You got a big brain, Jay.
Look at the big brain.
And you have internet that works.
Yeah, I do. Well, I pay my bills on time, so.
Oh. Bazinga.
So I think that we've been covering the past couple episodes. We've covered the basics of dieting, the basics of tracking, how to. We have a macro calculator. If you're interested in that, macrosinc.net/calculator. And I think that, not the how, but the when to bulk and when to, and how much of a calorie deficit, because after a while you're not using a calculator. You have your macros, you can adjust them to make your own progress. No need to recalculate. So Brett, and we have to break down men and women here because they both have different body fat percentages, for healthy ranges. So with women, where do you recommend that women diet down to? What range?
That's a good question. So you're talking about like general population or?
Yeah, the average person. Yeah, we like to diet down to. I mean, do you want to start when would you say it's good time to start a bulk? Obviously we don't want to be at 25% body fat and start bulking.
Yeah, I would say for women, somewhere between the 17 to 22 range. Maybe if you're like a much smaller individual, closer to the 22 to 25 range can be a decent place to start. Like if you're severely under muscled, and you're a smaller person, there may be some reason at kind of the 22 to 25% range for women.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, but that 17 to 22% is typically where the ballpark statement for the average person is where we like to put them at. And how about for men?
For men, it's really sub 12.
Yeah. Yeah. I always go with the 10 to 12%. If they want to go leaner, even with women, if women want to go down to 15% and for some reason and a guy wants to go down to 8%, as long as both of them know it's not sustainable, they're going to feel like crap for a little while. And that's not a goal for long-term sustainability. I have no problem going there. But I mean, even going to 10%, I feel like crap. I don't enjoy it very often.
It is interesting how some people can just like roll around all year at 8% and they feel fine. And some people at 10%, they just feel like hot trash.
Yeah, that's Dylan. Dylan can roll around with I think he walks around just from looking at him. He's at about 6%, about 8%, 8 to 10% body fat year round, just walking. And, I can't, if I get visible abs, I feel absolutely like garbage. As low as I have to get them, even maintaining them, I just feel horrible.
I think you need more monsters is what I hear.
Yeah. I actually cut down. I had 2 yesterday. I've only had 1 today. And I had one on Saturday. I'm a hero among habit changers.
A god among men.
Yeah. So
what's the most amount you've consumed in a day?
Oh, over 10.
What?
Oh yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Well, that was like when I was working at firehouses. You're working a 48 or something. You're up all night. You got to have a lot plus coffee.
Yeah.
So going back to the topic at hand, when we have, so we're going to diet down. Now, when somebody diets down to, let's say a female gets down to 18% body fat, met all goals, happy with what they're seeing in the mirror, and they say, you know what, I want to add on some muscle. Is it, I hit that, I'm at my visual body, and we're talking visual body percentage, right? We're not talking about getting DEXA scans or anything like that.
Yeah. I would say for most people, you probably don't need a DEXA scan.
Yeah. So you see what, you're happy with the body fat percentage in the mirror. Your scale weight's is getting down there. You really don't want to diet anymore. Would you recommend that somebody switches immediately from a cut to a bulk, or should there be a time frame in between where you're at maintenance or not even doing anything?
That's a good question. I would say the answer to this comes down to individual preference. Ideally, I like people to have several weeks of kind of actual maintenance so we can actually figure out what kind of their low end body weight is. Because part of the problem is when you finish a cut, your body's kind of artificially low weight, right? So if you could have a few weeks of maintenance where your weight will spike back up a little bit just from adding in a few more calories and carbohydrates and kind of refilling some of your glycogen stores and things like that. I like people to kind of find what the actual new low, like sustainable low is, so we can use that as a benchmark moving forward. Otherwise, if you like go immediately from a cut to a bulk, you'll see a pretty big weight rebound spike. So imagine like you have your gas tank is on half and you fill it back up and then you add like an extra few gallons in like a reserve tank. Like you'll see a pretty big spike.
We lost Brad. Are you there? Are you there, Brad?
I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
So
somebody called my phone. So
Brad's having a rough day. His internet's not working. He's broadcasting on his phone. He locked up again. I think somebody called him again.
God.
So did somebody call you again?
I'm here. No.
Oh, this is a rough episode. Anybody listen on the podcast?
Very rough.
You should see Brad's face. He's ready to explode right now, and it's making my day. So people coming in and out, we are going to have that rebound. You have if you go right into a bulk, you're going to have. It's not necessarily gaining body fat right away, right? It's more though you're going to retain more water because you're having more carbs, which retain water. You're having more salt in your diet. You have more food in your system, and that food that you're digesting has weight to it. And I think that's one of the things that people don't really take into account. I know when I diet people down, if we're trying to get to like a specific weight, be it a Vandy goal or needed for an event or something, if we say, and sometimes we don't even know what weight, we just say, hey, they might say, hey, I'm at 122. I think at 120, I'm going to stop. I'll say, how about we go down to 118? And then after we go to maintenance, you're probably going to gain 2 to 3 pounds. So you'll be back up there. So I like to go a little bit below the goal weight, the target weight. If you have a target weight, not everybody needs to have a target weight. Sometimes, a lot of times it's just visual. But I like to go a little bit below where they want to be, a little bit further, just to kind of take that mental effect of seeing the scale go back up. Because even if you know where that weight is coming from, that it's not body fat, it still messes with your mind a lot.
Yeah, especially if people set a number like, let's just say they set 119 as their number.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately when they get off of their diet and they go to maintenance or switch to a bulk and they see 1.5 pounds just from like refilling the tank, it really can play with your mind.
So when we're dieting off of maintenance calories, assuming you have your maintenance calories, we're dieting, what's the ideal, again, we're talking in textbook stuff, average people, the ideal rate per week that we're going to see? We aim for what percentage of their body weight per week?
I like to think about it a little more you mean for weight gain?
For weight loss.
Oh, weight loss? About 0.5% to 1% per week.
Okay. 0.5% to 1% and you'll typically be towards that 0.5% for females and towards the 1% for males. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, and we're talking big approximations here in average people, making a lot of blanket statements. But so if we're going down, let's just use the 1 pound per week. If I'm dieting down, losing consistently at 1 pound a week, my average over 12 weeks has been 1 pound a week, especially towards the end of my diet. I'm done and I'm ready to go back up to maintenance. How many calories am I going to add back in? We say don't reuse a calculator. Well, how do you know what to add back in to go to maintenance if I'm losing 1 pound a week?
If you're losing 1 pound a week, it's going to be somewhere around 500 calories a day.
Right. So we do use that 3,500 calorie rule to estimate, right? Yeah.
So that's one of the things that, people have started to harp on that number pretty hard. Like, oh, 1 pound doesn't equal 3,500 calories. It's like, well, of course, nothing's ever that neat and clean. But what it does is it gives you a good heuristic of, here's kind of a rough benchmark for where I should try to estimate to, and then make adjustments from there.
Yeah, agreed. It's a good tool. I don't think it's the end all be all, but it's absolutely a way to gauge progress and to make adjustments by. So if we're losing about 1 pound a week, we want to increase by 500 calories a day. If you're losing 0.5 pound a week, increase by 250 calories a day. And should we typically leave protein alone and then increase carbs and fats or total calories?
Yeah, generally. And sometimes you may even lower protein. Sometimes we'll default to increasing protein during dieting, and then you may be like, okay, I can lower the protein a little bit and increase.
Yeah, and the other thing that people want to be careful of, and because sometimes you're losing weight, you want to spare muscle, so you increase protein. But now that I'm bulking, sometimes it's really difficult to get balanced meals in if you lower protein too much.
That's also true.
So I keep it artificially high. I typically just never touch your protein unless I have to adjust it based on your weight. Yeah. But yeah, it's really rare to see big swings in your protein. So then we increased our calories up to, let's say we were losing 1 pound a week. We increased our calories by 500 a day, where the scale weight goes up by about 1 pound to account for all the food weight, water, everything that we've refilled our tank with. We maintain for about 2 weeks, maintain that weight, and then we're ready to start bulking. So how much weight are we, what percentage of your body weight are we looking to gain and in what time frame?
You're looking at probably 0.25 to 0.5% per week.
Per week. So we want to gain somewhere between 1 to 2% per month.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think when you're bulking, I think it's too. I think especially, well, maybe for people who are measuring in kilograms, they can maybe do it. But I think people measuring in pounds and ounces, that's too small of a number to really see the changes on the scale. So I always like to go in either 2 week or 1 month increments. Just make sure your weight's not coming up too fast. So how much are we going to increase? We're at maintenance. How much are we going to increase our calories? Are we going to use that 3,500 rule again to increase by 1% per month?
Yeah, we're going to use that as kind of a rough estimate.
Okay, so if I'm a 150-pound person and I want to gain 1.5 pounds per month, that's 1%. I'm going to 1.5 pounds, so 3,500 times 1.5 is
so it's like 5,000-ish.
5,250 divided by 7. So I would increase 750 calories. Well, that'd be per day. That wouldn't be right.
No. So you would, if you're going to do it per month, you divide it by 30 days.
Oops. Divided by 30, 175 calories a day. So it's not that many calories.
Yeah.
To bulk.
And so if you break that math down, and that does appear to be kind of fairly optimal for like keeping body composition like stable as you're trying to bulk up. But that math right there, I think, is why most people do like the quote unquote dirty bulk, where it's like, I'm just going to eat as much food as I can and try to gain as much weight as I can, because otherwise trying to just consume an extra 200 calories a day and try to add on muscle tissue becomes very kind of cognitively difficult because it's so small
and so slow.
Yeah.
Now, if we have, what are the odds that, which do people adapt to most? Dieting down 500 calories a day under maintenance, or bulking at 175 calories over maintenance? Which are you most likely to adapt to?
When you say adapt, you mean like their metabolism or?
Correct. Yeah. Which one is most likely to need an increase against sooner? You know, I'm going to adapt to something. 500 calories is a pretty big deficit, but if I have 175 calories, I might just increase my NEAT with that extra energy. And
you're going to need to increase your food intake before you would need to decrease your food intake, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So if you're bulking, you're most likely need to make adjustments more frequently than if you're dieting.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's always better to go slower with a bulk than it is to go faster, right?
I would say in most circumstances, yes. There are some circumstances that I would say that's not the case. Okay. And that generally refers to very untrained people and very young people. So like if you're a 16-year-old kid and you've just started lifting and you have like you're super lean, you're a 16-year-old kid, and you really only have that window of like big elevations of testosterone. I would ride that as much as I could. Like if I could go back and do my 16, 17, 18-year-old self again, I would approach that very differently.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd approach everything differently if I could go back to 16-year-old me. So when we're bulking for men, where's the approximate point that you'd like to see a male start a bulk at? What body percentage, and the max you'd like to see him go up?
Yeah. So I would see start it when you're below 12%. So kind of that 10 to 12, 8 to 12 range. And then I would stop at 15 to 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything above that, then it becomes your return on investment becomes pretty poor.
Yeah. Anything above 18, you should be, if you're starting out and your body fat percentage is above 15 and you're a man, you should be dieting right now.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be time to bulk. And typically people know, right? If your goal is, I want to build muscle, but should I lose weight first? Yes, you should probably lose weight first. It's very rare to see people ask that question and not need to lose first. They're I think it's kind of a denial thing. Yeah. But then for females, we want to diet down. They diet down to somewhere between 17 to 22%. So where would you like to see those numbers for a female? Where should they bulk up to?
I would say probably the 24 to 27% range.
Okay, perfect. That's exactly where I would go to. So 24 to 27. And again, if you're above that, you probably shouldn't be bulking. You can still, if you're new to lifting, you can still gain muscle or maintain muscle at any time while you're dieting. You can gain strength while you're dieting, but you're going to put on so much body fat for men and women if you start bulking before you're ready to, that you're going to have to diet much longer, and then you're going to spend too much time out of a muscle building phase. It's just not very efficient.
So what's interesting is I published a paper with a couple other people and looked at like what is the optimal amount of we looked at, it was a review paper, but we looked at like what is the optimal amount of calorie surplus for maximizing muscle gain and minimizing fat mass. And when you include like all the metabolic adaptations that occur and the increased needs and all that stuff, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 to 500 calories a day. It's kind of the optimal bulking number, which is interesting. And I think a lot of that comes from like, as you increase your food intake, you have an increased thermic effect of food. So that cuts off about 10% of the increased food. So let's just say we pick a number of 350 calories. You take 35 off the top for the thermic effect of food. So now you have 315 usable calories. And then you've got, maybe an extra 110, 120 from your NEAT, which is about what you would expect, kind of right in that range. And then that puts you at, right about that 175, 200 mark. So which is what we just kind of mathed out.
Right.
Yeah.
So you would need extra over that 175 to 75. Yep. That would be the actual working calories, basically.
Yep.
Huh, interesting. So we got some questions here. Let's get to these. Amber said, you guys keep me company while I clean out the horse's stall. Brains and gains. Or brains, gains, and grains for the horses. Amy Hall said, Dr. Brad was cutting out on my end too, but it's good now. Brad breaking our broadcast, breaking everything we've worked so hard to set up with our high quality mics. And
here, if I pull this
skill
down,
sets.
Does it at least make me look like I'm still really cool?
Yes, I will decline to answer that. Yeah, it's just blocking your face.
What do you mean it's blocking my face?
Yeah. Let's see. Dante said, good vibe. YouTube's not telling him about the MILIVE. He has to check for himself. Well,
have you pressed the alert button?
I don't know. Is there one?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
okay.
belly bell.
The bell? Well, that's the subscribe. Bell. Okay.
The bell is going to be right here.
Oh, my God. Brad's pointing to a screen for everybody on the podcast. Pam said, how do I measure body fat? I hear most is not. We have a couple questions. I'm going to read all these questions first so we can just get them out of the way. How do I measure body fat? I hear it's not accurate. Woody said, so if all the methods for body fat measure aren't inaccurate, how can people know if they're 10, 12, 17, 22? Pam said exactly. Jessica said, what is the best way to estimate body fat percentage? And some people, that's the end of the body fat ones. So, Brad, what is for the average person at home, what is the best way for them to measure body fat percentage?
Oh, gosh.
I'm a fan of the of visual. Find one of those. There are plenty of guides out there. I'll look real quick and find one of the better ones.
Yeah,
just a visual guide.
The most practical at home, most accurate is probably, and that has like the least day-to-day variance is visual feedback. So like look in the mirror, see what your body looks like. That's what I would say. Now, from a scientific perspective, the most accurate way is probably a DEXA scan. And then probably, if you have somebody who's really good at using calipers, probably the calipers.
Yeah.
I've done so many bod pods and hydrostatic. I haven't done a ton of hydrostatic weight. I've done some, but part of the problem with those I find is while they're technically can be almost as accurate as a DEXA, they're not great in application because people don't wear the right clothes. They don't breathe out all their air, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, agreed.
So I would say that. Now, probably the most accurate way to do it from a research perspective is doubly labeled water, which is just they radioactively label water. You drink it, it kind of tells you how much body fat you have. It's probably the most accurate, but it's impractical for 99.999% of people unless you're in a research study.
Yeah. I can't get my doubly labeled water at Walmart anymore.
I know it's unfortunate, isn't it?
Then toilet paper's been out for a while. So
Bazinga.
So I found this one. This is a pretty good one. I simply Googled female body fat visual, and this was the 5th option that came up in Google. So it's a pretty good representation, but I think this is the actual one that I have on my phone. I think it works. It works well. It's pretty accurate. It's accurate enough. You know, at males at 15%, we can start to see ab definition. At 20%, there you can't see ribs. So there's the difference. At 10 to 12%, clear ab definition. Females at 10%, clear, well-defined abs. You have outlines of abs, and you can see ribs at 17%. At 22%, you can still see some intercostal muscles, your obliques. And at 25%, it's a flat appearance, but there's no definition. So I think this is a solid representation of it. Brad, do you have any issues with this one?
No, I mean, I think it's fairly accurate.
Yeah. Is it the most accurate? No, but is it good enough? I think so for most people.
Yeah.
So let's see, what else do we have? Why should we, somebody asked, why should we not reuse the calculator when going into maintenance? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, once you kind of have your working numbers, everything becomes relative to what you're currently doing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going back to some absolute starting point.
Yeah, we already have real world results. We don't, instead of getting another estimate from a calculator, which isn't as accurate, we can just adjust based on our results. Dante said, as Dr. Brad told me before, I kept my add 100 calories in every 2 weeks. As Dr. Brad told me before, I kept my quote, add 100 kcal every 2 weeks if still on maintenance. And I reached a point where I get some weight, but still regulate slowly after. Yeah, nice and slow. And you'll get nice, steady gains. Somebody said, I wonder if this is Beck Gormley. It's somebody in Australia, I'm guessing. I'm finally awake to see this. Too bad it's nearly 1 a.m. Oh, my Lord.
Let me see. It's Trish Mashiri.
Oh, never mind. Hi, Trish.
She lives in Brisbane, Australia.
Oh, that's where Beck lives, actually.
Wonder if they're BFFs.
Maybe they know each other.
I hope they do.
Amin said, so if we are increasing calories by 175 to 200 or so for bulking, then should we also increase NEAT? Like if someone's already completing 10,000 steps, what else should be done? Well, remember the point of the bulk is to gain weight. So if you're increasing your activity to counteract those 200 calories, you're at maintenance then. So, yes. So the goal is to have 200 calories of surplus. Now, I'm not saying you should decrease anything. If you want to be active, but you'll have to add in more calories as well.
The thing is, your body will probably just naturally increase its NEAT a little bit. Mm-hmm. That's just what happens when you have more calories on board.
Yep. Leanne said, the only problem with visual guides is the difference where people hold their fat. Sometimes I cannot find one that relates to my body comp. So remember, this is just visual. So if you're happy with what you see, then that's fine. If you're not,
forget about it.
Yep. And if you're not, then keep dieting. That's the biggest thing, I think. We put body fat percentage numbers on there so people can have some idea of where they want to be. But once you're happy with the fat loss, then it's time to stop losing fat. Once you're happy, and you might not be 100% satisfied, but you say, I've lost enough body fat to the point where I'm okay putting a little bit on while I build muscle.
Yeah.
And then it's time to bulk. And then Brad, real quick, we didn't touch on it. How, if you had to put a timeline on the minimum length, the minimum ratio for bulk to cut or cut to bulk, what would you do? What would you say?
what is your long-term goal?
Mine.
Yeah, like, so when you say what's the ratio of time you should spend in there?
Like, well, should I spend like if I'm just the average person who wants to just look better naked, if I want to diet down, and then I'm going to bulk. How long? And let's say I'm going through dieting bulking cycles, right?
Mhm.
I've already done I've done a major weight loss, and now I'm going to bulk. How long do I need to bulk, and then how long am I going to cut for every time? I always put people typically in a 3-to-1. So for every 3 months you bulk, you spend 1 month dieting.
Yeah, I would say that's probably pretty close. My thoughts on that are, I think that's a good ratio. I would like to see people spend longer periods of time bulking. I
agree.
think 12, like let's just say it's 3 and 1. I think 12 weeks is not a lot of time to add.
So I'm not saying only do it. I'm saying if you bulk for 6 months, then you should be prepared to spend 2 months dieting down afterwards.
I'd say that's pretty accurate. Yeah. So I would just say that like that 3-to-1 ratio is pretty good. I just would rather see people spend longer times trying to bulk.
100% agree. Yeah. If you spend 20 weeks in a bulk, then we should break that ratio down and spend that time in a cut. That's if you're doing everything right. So, all right. Amin said, same way I am at 19.5% body fat. I have been consistently reducing my calories every 10-day cycle. So now I have come down to approximately 1,300 calories. How do we work on macro ratio to get the body fat percentage down?
I mean, I would say, depending on your total body habitus size, is you may need to expend more energy. When you start to get to that 1,300 calorie range, you need to start thinking about, is less food the best option, or is more physical activity the best option?
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Kimberly said, I wish I understood how to do the macros. I tried everything to lose weight, but nothing works. Well, we have two options, Kimberly. One, you can go to macrosinc.net/ebook, download the free ebook. It's a guide how to do this. It will tell you everything. Or Brad, what's option 2?
Go to macrosinc.net/services and sign up for a free trial and work with a coach who will help guide you through the entire process.
Yep. We have a 2-week free trial, so you can go right in, sign up for nutrition coaching. You'll get paired with a coach. They will you'll have a video consult with them. You will actually get to talk to somebody about your goals, see if coaching is right for you, and have a guided approach for this. And all the information's out there to do this for free. Our job is to guide you and point you in the right direction and accelerate this process. We're going to help you work on your goals, work on the tools and skills that you need to make your dieting and nutrition long-term and sustainable.
Yep.
And then let's see who else said this. Let's see. Stephanie said, so to switch from a deficit to maintenance, just add 500 calories. You want to add in 500 calories per day if you're averaging 1 pound of body weight loss per week
over a several week window.
Yeah, correct. So it's not just 500, because if you're losing a 1/4 pound a week, 500 is going to start gaining your weight. So for every pound you lose per week, that's approximately 3,500 calories per week that you can add back in to go up to maintenance.
Yep.
Can I watch this later? Yeah, you can watch all these at macrosinc.net/YouTube. You can listen to them anytime, macrosinc.net/podcast, or you can go to Facebook and go to the Macros Inc. web, facebook.com/macrosinc, or macrosinc.net/free group, and you can watch them in our Facebook group.
We control the entire internet.
We do. Oh, Beck is her coach down in Brisbane. Huh.
So
funny.
They are BFFs.
Yeah, you guys
Best
are BFFs.
Food friends.
Yeah. Why are you up as a client? Why are you up so late? You need sleep. Get to sleep.
Jay, I think you missed my joke.
What?
I said they're BFFs. Best food friends.
Oh my God. Not your best, but not your worst. Should we continue to use the macro calculator as we lose weight, or calculate on our own? You should never. Once you have macros and you're following them and getting results, you should never need a calculator again.
So we built a very expensive, very good one-time tool.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's really, really accurate.
You're really accurate.
If I don't care what I look like, I just want to be stronger. Should I also be doing a bulk cycle, or could I just keep training?
I would say you can just keep training as long as you keep your body fat percentage and your BMI in a healthy range. Because we know that for all intents and purposes, maintaining a BMI above 30 and a body fat percentage, above probably 25% carries with it additional health risks. So I would say be mindful of that for kind of long-term health.
And also, it's going to be more effective to build strength in a bulking phase than in a maintenance or cutting phase. So if you have more macronutrients and micronutrients for your body to use because you're bulking, you're going to get stronger faster. So I would always recommend going in that, getting down to a good weight, getting down to a healthy body weight, and then slowly bulking. You don't have to bulk very fast. Muscle grows slower than paint dries. But as long as you can be in a surplus, it's going to be your best bet. That's not to say you can't gain strength while dieting and you can't gain strength while maintaining, just not as effective.
That's one of my new favorite J-isms.
What?
Muscle grows slower than paint dries.
Yeah, it does.
I can attest to that. I'm going on 15 years and I have not much to show for it.
Your paint's still not dry?
My paint is still not dry.
I could come up with like a bunch of analogies for it for the economy if you want those instead. We can talk about those off air.
I have some bad news.
What's that?
My phone is at 15% battery.
Oh my God. You're a hot mess today, man.
Dude, I plugged my phone in last night, but I don't know. Didn't charge.
Babe, what time did you get up today?
5:15.
You're a slacker today, man.
I know.
Phone's dying, getting up late. I sent you.
Well, that's why I got up late. Because normally my alarm goes off at 4:30 and I woke up and my phone was dead. Because I had it plugged in, but apparently the cord's bad or something.
I woke up we fell asleep with the TV on last night, and I woke up. I was in the middle of like this awesome, we're looking at buying land out in the middle of nowhere, and I had this awesome dream that we were at like this huge estate overlooking all these horses running, and all of a sudden gunshots rang out, and like it woke me up from my dream. Not like they were just in the distance; it just woke me up, and I woke up and Die Hard was on TV. And it was but it was Live Free and Die Hard, so it was the newest one. But it was literally the gunshots from the show that woke me up, and I was like, "Oh man!" Well, then I stayed up at 3:30 in the morning and watched Die Hard until 4:30. So it was a good morning, really.
So what time are you going to bed today? 2:00?
Probably as soon as we're done here.
You crazy.
Kimberly said, I have 60 pounds to lose. I feel as though weight gain has caused the many health problems I am facing. Hitting the gym is difficult. How would that play in until I can lose weight to feel better to go to the gym? So exercising is not needed to lose weight. We can do it with diet. There's different benefits to exercise and different types of exercise. But, once we get you, a lot of times it's not even that you feel bad. It's that you're not comfortable going to the gym. I mean, I think I've been there when I've taken time off from the gym. When I started lifting, I didn't go to a gym. I worked at home because I felt I was too scrawny to go lift weights. As coaches, we work with you to get you to that point. Maybe it is a time thing. You can never get there. We'll work with you to find time at home to exercise to make to hit your goals.
Yeah. And a lot of times for people who have, 50, 60, 70 plus pounds to lose is just walking every day, like setting time to actually walk is one of the first best steps you can make.
Yep. Or you could turn into a Gabe Hill and become like a CrossFit junkie after you lose 200 pounds.
You could do that too.
Yeah. When cutting,
we don't call people those terms anymore. We now call them people who enjoy CrossFit.
Versus what?
I don't know. In the medical literature, they're changing all these terms.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't. That's why I don't write in the medical literature, Brad.
I know.
Who was I talking to the other day? And somebody asked me, I was talking with somebody about resuscitation, and it was a casual conversation. And where was I at? Oh, I was I was at the 7-Eleven in my neighborhood, and somebody walked in and said something about an ambulance, and I started an ambulance and something that happened at their house, and I chimed in because we were having a conversation. I chimed in and said, "What are you, like an expert in resuscitation?" I said, I actually used to be, yes. Like, this used to be a profession. Like, and then I realized that it's been 2 years since I've taught, ridden, or done anything about cardiovascular health, and it's amazing how fast that stuff leaves your head when you don't use it every day. I mean, I could still do the basics, but yeah, like I was an expert in it. I am not an expert in it anymore in 2 years. That's just crazy.
That's, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's especially if you don't care about it anymore, you really lose it.
That's also true.
All right. When cutting, how much should I drop my macros by calories by per pound loss?
I would not change it until you see some sort of plateau.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I would say a plateau would be 2 to 3 weeks of no more progress.
Yeah. Oh, she said, "Good night, guys. I'm up because I'm a nurse and my sleep is broken." I understand your pain. We're both married to nurses, so we both understand that pain of broken sleep. So we feel your pain. Brad, what are your thoughts?
You followed suit after me.
Oh my God, I hate you. I hate you so much. Thoughts on juicing detoxes? Okay, how many days in not damaging to my metabolism?
Juicing detoxes don't really do anything for detoxing other than maybe change your habits around food. It's a very expensive way to restrict your calories.
Yep, agreed.
Like I'll take a picture. There's a local place here that makes like smoothies and stuff that I'll go to every once in a while. And they have like juice detoxes, and it's like $45 for 1 day or like $500 for 7 days. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And the bigger, and it really, all the weight, you see people, I lost so much weight, but they put it back on the minute they stopped because they lost water weight.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. So you don't need anything with a detox. You have kidney and liver. You have kidneys and liver. And if they're not functioning, you would already know. And you just reduce your caloric intake, because otherwise that's a yo-yo diet, right? We don't crash diet. It's not sustainable. It's not real weight loss. It's not fat loss. It's just weight loss, which is just water weight. So try to avoid those. Most of them are just scams.
Jay, I feel like we've had a lot of questions today.
Yeah, this has been a good one. We've been real busy. What time is we have a meeting? Is that in 5 minutes? Or is that in 35 minutes?
I think it's in an hour and 5 minutes.
We'll keep talking. I'll check. So
I think we moved it because I have a standing meeting in 35 minutes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I think we moved it.
We should probably figure that one out pretty quick here, because otherwise we're going to have some mad people at us. So let's jump into our second topic. And Brad, I'll let you check while I talk about it. And that is the basics of program design. So just simple program design. We're already at 43 minutes. Do we want to save that for another episode?
Let's save that for another episode.
All right. We'll get to it.
There's a big discussion to be had around.
All right. So that'll be, maybe we can talk about that with Mike.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
He's a physical he's a doctor too. We can get some doctors. Somebody asked, we're going to get off here in a few minutes, guys. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. We'll wrap up here with our questions. So where are you guys from? I'm kind of new here. I am in Chicago. Brad is in some place that nobody cares about.
I live in Spokane, Washington, which is Eastern Washington, which is the best place in the world to live. And I ask Jay I tell Jay at least once a week that he's moving to Spokane.
Oh, at least
once a week he shuts me down.
For 2 years now. You almost had me in late 2017, early 2018.
I almost had you this morning too.
Yeah, until you said there was like a quarter of an acre.
I'm just saying.
But Macros Inc. itself, we're a Nevada company, but we have coaches in 6 countries, clients in 6 continents, 48 countries right now. I think we have clients in, and we are based. We're based all over. We have people in every time zone you can imagine. So
we now have a quote satellite office in Chicago.
Yeah. I'm in the satellite office.
At some point, we'll have a quote satellite office in Spokane.
Yeah. So we're all over. So
our
welcome.
Macros Inc. headquarters is located in the cloud.
In the cloud.
I think that's right.
How much pure cardio should be added if weight training? I don't like I burn that much when I lift per Fitbit.
What I tell people is don't worry about the caloric expenditure of your exercise per se. Worry about the adaptation that you get from it, right? So the reason you should engage in cardiovascular exercise is for the cardiovascular health benefits and the recovery benefits. So the better your cardiovascular system is, the better your overall recovery is. I
don't feel like I burn that many calories. Gotcha.
Yeah. Add in, 2 cardio sessions a week, 1 cardio session a week, 3. Realize 1 is better than 0. 2 is better than 1, and probably 3 is better than 2. They don't have to be long. They don't have to be super strenuous, but just some level of that is substantially beneficial for your overall health.
Okay. Agree.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. You're a smart guy, Brad. It's like you got a PhD in this or something.
I got a thing. I don't even know where I put those degrees. I don't even know my walls anymore. They're in like a box somewhere.
Oh my God.
God, it's silly.
All right. So I think we're going to wrap up. We'll be back on our next episode, which will be, if you listen to live broadcast, will be Wednesday. Or if you are listening on the podcast, it will be the next episode that's released after this, which will be a day or 2 after you listen to this. This is the latest one. And that will be with Mike. My God, what is Mike? Stare. All I could think of was Strange, and I knew that wasn't it. Mike, I can never remember.
Ever remember this.
And he's somebody I talk to every week.
I know.
Like, we have regular business meetings every week, and I always call it Strange, Strong, Stare. Mike Stare. Sorry, Mike.
I'm just going to text you every day until you remember.
Yeah. Mike Stare will be here. Mike is a doctor of physical therapy, and he comes in and talks about injuries, program design, and things like that. So he'll be here on Wednesdays, every other Wednesday with us. So we will talk about that, and that's when we will cover our simple program design. We'll bring Mike into the conversation because Mike does a lot of programming for a lot of people, and we'll get 2 PhDs and Jay in here on this topic. So, Brad, if anybody wants more information, more coverage, more guidance with all of this, besides macrosinc.net/ebook, where should they go for help?
I would go to macrosinc.net/services, and I would sign up for coaching.
2-week free trial.
2-week free trial. And if you want to have somebody take care of all the programming for you, select our complete coaching option.
Complete coaching, no trial, but you're going to get a customized workout every week. It's every week your coach is going to make modifications to it based on your feedback and progress.
Every single week.
Yep. We have a client portal. Everything's in there. You can download stuff in PDFs. It is fantastic. So for anybody listening on any of our formats, if anybody wants to check us out on YouTube, watch some of the lives, or watch some of the the previous lives, macrosinc.net/YouTube. If you want to listen to the podcast, macrosinc.net/podcast. They are delayed by about a week on there. So if you're on the podcast, watch the Facebook lives. If you want to listen to them while you drive, not kill your data or your battery or anything, just macrosinc.net/podcast. You can listen to them there. If you are interested in working with Macros Inc., we are actually hiring. So macrosinc.net/become-a-coach. And you can join our team. Brad over there will give you an interview. I think he interviews about 10 people a week.
It's too many.
You interview a lot of people every week.
I do.
I don't envy you with that.
I don't like to call them interviews. I like to call them fireside chats.
Fireside chats. Oh my God. Oh my God. For anybody who wants to work for Macros Inc., Brad does not represent the views of Macros Inc. as a whole or the opinions of Macros Inc. as a whole.
What do I represent?
The views of you.
Okay.
Just like I don't represent the views of Macros Inc., I represent the views of me.
You know what's interesting is how many companies speak on behalf of all of their employees.
Yeah, we refuse to.
I'm like, I can tell you what I think or what somebody else thinks or the values that we put forth as a company, like the things that we actually care about. But yeah, I can't.
Yeah, no, we have.
It's like some people don't like pickles.
Right. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, and they're crazy, and we don't hire people who don't like pickles. So don't apply if you don't like pickles. Well, sorry, we don't hire people who don't like dill pickles. Let's just leave it at that. You get bread and butter pickles.
People who admit to not liking.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll hire anybody. Yeah, we're such a diverse. True. We're such a diverse. I mean, we have coaches from so many countries, so many walks of life. We have coaches who have survived like genocides, like who work for us. Like it's such a wide range of people that for any company to speak on behalf of their employees is silly. We have overall arching values, but that's about it.
It is silly.
And that's just our overall arching values are be good people. Be kind, please rewind. Those are can we make that? I bet you Blockbuster don't own the trademark on that anymore.
Can we make a shirt that just says be kind, please rewind?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Okay.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Somebody asked a question. Can I go below my BMR 1049 at the moment during a cut?
Yes, you can.
How long could you do that for?
I mean, forever until you die if you really want to.
Yeah. It's going to be miserable.
Yeah. I would say if you do that, be very cognizant of your NEAT. Because one of the things that I hate seeing people do is dropping their calories really low and then not getting good results because they are using this kind of nuclear bomb option to lose weight, but then not making sure everything else is taken care of.
Agreed. Woody said, I don't like pickles. I might be crazy. You know what? You're a client and you're banned now. I'm done. We're just gonna we can't take clients who don't like pickles anymore. That's pickles and beef jerky you have to take in. Next thing you're gonna say is you don't like Cool Ranch Doritos.
Cool Ranch Doritos. I cannot remember the last time I had that.
Those have replaced Cheetos in my life. All right, Brad, are we done? Okay. If anybody was wondering, our meeting is an hour.
We have reached the end of useful things to say.
Yeah, I mean, I could still have useful things to say. If we've reached the end of useful things on this topic to say.
Jay, I know you're probably very concerned.
I am.
But I am back in the day trading market and I'm up $4. Oh, shoot. Now I'm only up $3.
Oh, man. Today. You are such a...
So I don't know if I can afford coffee today, but we'll see. We'll see how the day shakes out.
Oh my. All right, guys. Well, we will see you on Wednesday for the live or on the next episode for the podcast. So, Brad, go ahead and say the tagline. Are you not going to say it now?
Same macro time.
Same macro channel. I said it. Are you happy? You don't look happy.
No.
You should be happier.
I'm not happy. I'm very frustrated with all of my technology today.
Your internet just is horrible.
It's rubbish.
Oh my God, Woody's never had Cool Ranch Doritos either. What? I'm going to have to talk to your coach, and we're going to have a serious talk about foods that they recommend for you, because it's just going to be like a
very true.
Cool Ranch Doritos. All right, guys.
Tell him that he needs. We'll just send him some. Let's do that.
All right, guys. We are out of here. Take care.
All right.